friends, so have you thought about getting an auto press for your craft room or for your craft projects? If you have, today's video is for you. So I'm standing in front of my craft studio, which by the way could use a little tidying up, but we are going to open up the box and we are going to literally, like, from beginning to end, do the whole thing. And by the end of this video, I'm going to be able to tell you whether or not I think this is a good investment. So if you are new here, you're crafting with Kim Byers, let's go. Okay guys, and in full disclosure, I didn't buy this. This was gifted to me by the brand, which is HTVRont. And so the goal is that I'm going to test it out and give you my true unbiased, what do I think of this product. Let's get into it. Okay, so here we are on the craft table, and I was using my iPhone for the intro to this, so it was a little grainy, sorry about that. So what we're gonna do is we're going to unpack this really pretty auto press, and this is by HTVRont. So we're just getting the plastic off of it and getting all of the styrofoam, but look at this, look how pretty this is. It's gonna match my craft room perfectly. I'm all about the blues these days. And so what we're going to do is we're going to plug this in and look at all the buttons and all the things. So this is the tray that pulls out, and it's a little tight, but I think that's because it's not on yet. So it stores all compressed, and then when I turn it on, from what I can read from the instructions, it's going to pop up or rise so that you can put your shirts and, you know, whatever it is you want to press on that. A couple of important things before we get started. Number one, the price point on this is $300 when it's not on sale, compared to lots of them that are roughly $1,000 not on sale. And also, it's heavy. This thing is 60 pounds. It's very heavy, so find a home for it and leave it there. Okay, so let's go over all the buttons. We have a general on-off switch, we have a temperature, we have the time, and you have the plus and minus buttons so that you can change those. That gear in the middle is for custom settings, so if you do the same type of project all the time, you can set up custom settings. You have an auto switch and a mode switch, and so all of that is well spelled out in the instruction manuals. So let's go ahead and turn it on, and we will get geared up to do one of 3 projects. So let's start out with just an everyday iron-on. So we're going to do a t-shirt first, and so if we look at the heat guide, it's going to tell us that we need to get to roughly 315, and then we can change our time up to 30 seconds. So it's super simple, and you can even hold it down for 3 seconds and skip 5 seconds at a time. And the little R button or logo button to the right is your start button. So for our first project, I went ahead and cut out my HTV and weeded it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to press or pre-press our shirt to get out any moisture that might be in the shirt. And then the next thing that we're going to do is place our design on and press, and let's see how this goes. Okay, so positive so far. I really like the way that it looks. It seems to heat up quickly. A negative, just as I'm doing this, I'm a little worried about burning my hand, because you kind of have to be really easy about putting it underneath that edge. And I wish it, you know, opened a little bit more. Now with a clamshell, it's going to open way wide, right? But you don't have this nice little drawer that pulls out that you can work on. So just a little pro and con there. Okay, so I thought there was a wrinkle in my mat, but it was nothing. So now let's go ahead and get our t-shirt together. And what we're going to do is we're not going to change all of the parameters that we've already set up, because with this machine, you can start it and then just hit any button to stop it midway through. So let's go ahead and start it. You can see it compress and that cool, the top comes up, the middle goes down. And so then we're just going to let it go for about 5 seconds, and then we're just going to press a button, and then it's going to stop, and so you see it decompress, and so you can pull the little drawer back out. So a perfect press that looks really nice, right? So now what we want to do is go ahead and grab our design, and we're going to put that in place. And I could turn the shirt around, but this is a pretty simple design, so I think I'm just going to leave it this direction and go ahead and pop it down. I'll just use a ruler just to make sure that we're good and centered, and we are. Everything looks good. Press that down, just make sure it's good and sticky, and go ahead and push it in. And start. Okay, so it's ended, and let's go ahead and pull it out and check our design. It looks good, everything looks good. So let's peel from one edge. Once it's cooled down a little bit, let's peel from one edge and see how it did. Okay, so it's actually pulling back up on the material. So I think it's one of two things. This is smart material, cut with my Cricut, and so it's a little bit thicker of a liner, so I'm wondering if that has to do with it. And it's also still a little bit warm. So I'm just gonna go through the process one more time and press it again. Okay, so this time I pressed it and then I took it completely off of the machine and put it on my granite countertop just to cool it 100%. And now it's pulling away very well. So you always pull from one corner or one edge, and then I'm just going to be really gentle with it. Again, a smart vinyl. The backer to it is very, very thick, so I'm just going to be really gentle with it. And I've gone ahead and changed my temperature for my next project, so that's why the temperature looks different on this, but this is completely cool at this point. Okay, so in my opinion, this looks great. It looks perfect on the shirt. So iron-on is a win. Okay, so next up we're going to make these really cute little canvas treat bags, and we're going to use glitter for this project. So we want to do a little pre-press, and by the way, I picked these up for $1 most every holiday at craft stores and just various places, but usually you can pick them up pretty cheap, and I like to put them filled with candy next to our breakfast plate on that given holiday. It's just a ton of fun. It's kind of a little family tradition. Okay, so now that we have the moisture out of the bags, let's go ahead and put on our design. Now, by the way, all of these designs are available in Cricut Design Space, and I will link up these final projects down below so you can get easy access to them. So we're just going to put those into place and go ahead and move them back out to the edges so that we're not pressing our little strings. Okay, so let's close the drawer on the glitter iron-on and hit go. Okay, so that pressing is done. So let's just take those off. They need to cool, so we'll let those cool for a minute. And I do absolutely encourage you to take them off of the mat to cool. I made the mistake on the first project leaving it on the mat too long, and it kept the item too warm. So now what we want to do is we're going to move these out of the way, and we are going to put on our next project. The next one is sublimation. So we're going to test sublimation infusible ink on a t-shirt with the auto press. Okay, so I picked this t-shirt up at Hobby Lobby, and I want to say it was $11.99 originally, and I got it for about $5. It was on sale. And so I'm just going to take the stickers off, and then we're going to put this onto our mat and do a little pre-press. Now, I will say one negative that I am kind of feeling about this is the fact that I feel like I'm going to burn my fingers trying to put this shirt underneath the edging there. So I do wish it came up a little bit taller. That said, I haven't actually burned my fingers yet, and I do have some gloves that I could use, if I was really that worried about it, right? So we're going to smooth this out, and then we're going to pop that in and do a really quick press. Okay, so 5 seconds later, we just press any button to stop the machine. We'll pull that out, see how well it looks great, right? So we want to let that cool down a little bit, because if you're using sublimation or infusible ink, same thing, then you want to have a cool surface to start with so that your ink doesn't start to bleed into your product before you're ready to go. Okay, so while that sits, let's go ahead and check out our glitter and see how it did. Oh yes, I would say glitter is a definite win. Didn't this turn out so cute? I have to say I'm kind of in love with this. I'm gonna have to make some more of those. You just peel easily from one edge. It stayed, it adhered perfectly, and it looks great. Okay, and so back to our sublimation project. So I did use a infusible ink sheet and cut out my design. So this says Hello Fall. And remember, when you're doing sublimation, we're going to have to increase our heat significantly. So we're going to go up to 385, and we're going to go for 40 seconds. So we'll adjust that on our auto press. And so what we want to do now is we want to get some heat tape and make sure that our design doesn't shift. And then I'm going to insert a piece of cardstock in between the two layers of the shirt because I don't want anything to bleed. And I'm going to put parchment paper over top. Now, if you don't have cardstock, just put some more parchment paper in between the two just to protect your shirt. Now, with sublimation, it is really important to have good pressure, and it's important to be able to maintain that heat. So let's see how we do. One positive I do want to note is the fact that this auto press lifts directly up off of the surface. And when you're sublimating a project, you definitely don't want any slipping to the right or the left, or backwards or forwards, because it can cause what they call ghosting. And so this auto press actually lifting directly up is a very good thing for sublimation. Okay, so let's take it off the mat because we want it to cool, and that mat is going to maintain a good bit of heat is what I'm finding with each one of these tests. So we just want to move that off, allow it to cool, and close our drawer. Okay, so now that our shirt is cooled, let's go ahead and see what it looks like. So we're going to pull from one corner. Wow, the colors are so bright. Check that out. And this is called, I think this is called Kaleidoscope. I'll have to look it up and then pop it down in the description below so you guys can find this exact one. But look at that. All the color. I mean, very little color left on that transfer, which I would call sublimation and fusible ink on this auto press a win. So that's 3 for 3, guys. Hello, fall. So cute. Okay, so I'm not going to test this one today, but the other thing would be puff vinyl, which is something that I just made a video on a couple of videos back, and I'll link that up above. But basically, you need a hard surface for the puff. It takes a lot of pressure, and you can't have a pad on your press. So what I would say is you'd be able to pop those little side pieces off of this mat and pull it off, and then have that hard surface below. So I would say that all in all, I think this is a great price point for this product. The only negatives that I have seen by using it for these 3 projects is that I really wish I had more space between the auto press and the mat. Although everything has truly fit fine. How about we check out a sweatshirt though, because that is definitely something as we're heading towards fall that I'm going to want to create. So let me grab this sweatshirt and let's see how this works. And again, it's just that lip, but it's fine. It's fine. You can fit it all underneath there, and it looks like the sweatshirt is going to fit just perfect. And if I had a hood, I would just turn it around and, face it the opposite direction. Okay, so let's talk positives and negatives. So on the positive side, I would have to say that I like that it's a 15 by 15 surface. It's a nice large surface for projects. On the positive side, and this might be silly, but it's pretty. I like that it is attractive. On the positive side, it works well with regular HTV. It works well with glitter HTV. It works well with sublimation. All of those things, super important. On the negative side, I do wish there was more space between the auto press and the mat, allowing me to keep my fingers away from heat. Back on the positive side would be price. This is right smack in the middle of a handheld press and a clamshell press. So this is a very nice price point for what it can do. Okay, and so those of you who craft with me a lot, you're probably wondering, what is the difference between this and the Cricut version of the auto press? Now, what I will tell you is that I don't own the Cricut version. I only own at this point now the HTVRont version, and I can tell you that I think the HTVRont is very well priced. If you are looking into the Cricut Auto Press, the biggest difference between this machine and that one is that that machine is going to offer you an iOS app that's going to allow you to key in your information, so like what kind of materials and things you're using, and it's going to Bluetooth it to the machine so that you are getting, time and temp. And just like the HTVRont machine, it's going to lift straight up, but it does lean back, giving you more surface area to work on, but at a much larger price point. Okay, so there are the facts. I hope this helped you to make a decision on purchasing your auto press or your heat press. I put some links down in the description below so you can pop down and check out the different ones for yourself. And as of the making of this video in year 2023, in July 7th through 11th, HTVRont is going to have a huge sale on these and a lot of other things starting July 7th through July 11th. So make sure that you pop over and check those out.